We are in Blount County, Alabama at Blue Spring Living Water Bottling Plant.
We're about 48 miles north of Birmingham in north central Alabama. Blue Spring is about 60 feet wide, 40 feet deep. It flows just under 1 million gallons a day. It's 52 degrees year round. The water temperature never changes.
Blue Spring originates from the Bangor limestone aquifer, which, from what we understand, is about 3.5–4 miles deep. We had someone that actually did a turnover rate that said it took about 300 years to get from the Bangor aquifer up to the harvesting pool, which is pretty amazing for us because you think about 300 years, all of a sudden there's no groundwater contamination, insecticides, or any kind of contamination at all in that water. But it flows through limestone and dolomite, so I think that's what really gives it the perfect pH and just the clarity and everything that you can visually see when you walk into the spring house.
There were 3 families that were landowners here. Davy Crockett and Andrew Jackson were said to have discovered the spring out on a hunting trip. The Creek Indian War, some of it was here, and they had discovered it during those times, and they liked to hunt this area and had discovered the spring. I think they took a lot of refreshment and rejuvenation next to the spring. The first stagecoach trail came by here from Ohio to Louisiana, the first mail route. So there was a lot of activity around the spring before the land was even settled.
We sit on about 88 acres in Blount County, and the spring has a spillway that goes through the back of the pasture.
And it flows down to Blue Spring Creek, which traverses the foothills of the Southern Appalachians here and runs down several miles into Spring Valley Water Park, and we feed the water park, so we're always excited to tell people about visiting there, that they can swim in Blue Spring just down the road.
In 2017, we took over Blue Spring, and they had started just doing mostly 5-gallon jugs for the locals up here on a small scale distribution, and once we found out what the water was like, we made a play to get Blue Spring back up and running and have distribution in big box retail stores and home and office convenience stores. We were just trying to really be local to Alabama with an incredible water source that we found out about. And I had grown up in Alabama my whole life and really didn't know what good water was until I tasted this, and we were just kind of blown away about it, and decided that we would do the research to try to find who was bottling it, local product. We already had distribution in grocery stores, but when we got up here, we found out the guy that was running the spring had 5 months prior shut it down, and so it was just sitting here and nobody was doing anything with the water source.
And it's even different than other spring waters that are on the shelf, and that has to do with the TDS, the total dissolved solids, the pH of the water, and then the mineral content, the magnesium and the silica and the zinc and the calcium, just the way they work together, just have a very smooth, refreshing taste.
I wish that we could just harvest it all and bottle it and get it on the shelves, because unfortunately, the 1 million gallons is constantly flowing. I mean, we just use a fraction of it right now. If we were able to just bottle everything that is coming up in a 24-hour period, it would be about 6.5 million of the 500 milliliter bottles, and it would never drop the level of the pool. We bottle at Blue Spring probably about 20,000 bottles a day, depending on what size that we're running. We're not your typical bottling plant. We're kind of an old school craft type of bottling plant. And the old man, Mr. Shedd, when he started this thing back in 2000, he came across, I think it was just an ad in the paper for a bottling line. Well, he goes over to Atlanta, and it turned out to be Venus and Serena Williams' dad.
Richard.
That had a little, I think he was doing a sports drink for the Olympics at the time.
That's right.
And
the girls were playing.
They were playing. And he picked it up from him. And at the time, it was one of the fastest water bottling lines in the state. Got a news clipping somewhere, newspaper clipping of him standing beside it. 2,500 bottles per hour is what it was putting out.
And still putting out.
And still putting out.
A lot of thought went into how we were going to bottle the water, knowing that we had such a unique, special water source. So when we sourced our bottle, we went for the #1 plastic, which is fully recyclable. It's high grade, PET, BPA free, so it's zero waste if you are doing what you're supposed to with it. Our boxes are fully biodegradable in the landfill, and we really wanted to put the best bottle out there. We knew that going into the schools and on the golf course and in the gyms and all these different places, glass is just a no-no. So we knew if we were going to build our brand that we were going to have to start with plastic, and we wanted to be as sustainable as possible.
Our vision going forward with Blue Spring has been just to make sure that, first of all, that we share it with the state of Alabama. That's always been the #1 goal, is to make sure that everyone that lives here has access to it, knows about what an incredible resource we have in our state, and not too many people realize it's in their backyard. And beyond that, we'd like to grow as a company, regionally, and then eventually nationally, as a premium brand of natural spring water.
We'd love to be in every school in Alabama. We'd love to have children learning about the importance of water and the foundational aspect of health related to water, and that the best water comes from Alabama. People don't have a relationship necessarily with their water. A lot's been made about locally sourced food and having a connection to farmers and where your food comes from, and we want to introduce that in the way of water. We want people to have a connection, a transparency, to know where it comes from, to know the health of it, and just to change the way of thinking around that. At the University of Alabama, I graduated in 1990. I was an advertising major in the College of Communications.
And I was in broadcast and film. We have one daughter that graduated, and then we have 2 that are going in. We've got some ties.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I was excited when I got the magazine that the Alumni Association had put out, and did not know anything about the Water Institute. It was a fabulous article that the university had put together, and reached out and just I wanted y'all to know about us. I thought, gosh, what a great partnership, and people visiting the state and seeing, what's available, and that was kind of my initial reaction. So we just want to share what we have, especially with our university, and we're just excited about what's going on. We think there's a lot of research projects that, where we can validate some of the things we've learned over the years about, how unique and rare this water source is. It'll be fun to kind of study that together and to learn more about, what we have going on here.